Welcome back to the big garage build. Now we've finished the first layer of stud, everything up to wall plate height. I'm going to start bolting the buildings down. I've actually secured them already with concrete screws, but they were just to locate everything and hold everything in position. Now I'm going to use a chemical fixing and a stud to actually hold them all the way down, all the way around, and secure them before we put the sheathing on the outside using nail guns, which is going to vibrate the walls, so we need to get them bolted down first. And that's exactly what we're going to do now. I'm going to chemical resin some studs in, and then I'm going to let them go off, and then we just tighten everything down. So gravity is already on our side, so there's no actual sort of grabbing and pulling down to the brickwork that we need to do. We've just got to simply secure it in place. Now, there's a lot of things to consider when you're drilling into brick. For example, bricks can be quite fragile, and if you're not careful you might fracture the brick as you're drilling into it, okay? And also the type of fixing. If you use anything which is going to exert pressure on the brick, the chances are by the time you've drilled it, then you've bolted it up, it could actually fracture the brick and you're not going to see that. Now that's what we want to avoid doing, okay? So what we're going to use is a 14mm drill bit. This particular drill bit will take all the dust out of the hole into the dust extractor, okay? So the hole doesn't need conventional cleaning like this with a blower. So that is really, really useful. It's just a simple SDS drill, but it's hollow and it's got dust extraction built into it. The other thing is as well, while I'm drilling these, I'm just going to drill really steady. With an SDS bit, it's acting like a sort of jackhammer, if you like, and it's trying to chisel and drill at the same time. So I may even start it off without any hammer because they're quite soft bricks. Then, to make sure I drill it to the right depth, what I did is I popped on this small timber with that hole in it, which is basically what we're fixing, and I pushed the drill bit through to the bottom so it goes to the end of the brick, marked it with a pencil, and that's where I'm going to drill to every time. The first job will be go round putting in a 14mm hole through the timber to a certain depth. Then I'll blow out those holes so there's no dust in them with the blower. Set up the chemical resin, which is a piece of cake. So I put the cartridges inside this black plastic section here. Then using the app, I put in what I'm fixing into, how much depth I'm going in, and it will tell me how many milliliters of chemical resin I need, so there's no waste. So what we do is we put the cartridges in, we run it up so it's mixed in the actual tube, if you like. Once it's at that point, we then set how many milliliters of chemical fixing that we need per fixing. Now that's all done on the app. It's very simple. Get that set up, put the chemical in, but first things first, I'll drill all the holes to make sure we're ready to go around putting all the studs in one go. And yeah, it's a really straightforward job, but it's super important too. All the holes are drilled around the perimeter now. I'm going to set up the chemical now, and get all that injected in. So I'll inject one, push a stud in and move on. And then that's it. We let them go off and then we'll tighten down the nuts maybe tomorrow. So the gun's ready. You just pop in the cartridges, you turn it on. There's a forward there and you just pull the trigger, it pops the end, mixes it together, and now you're ready to go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go on the app. I'm going to check exactly how much material I need per hole. Going into solid masonry, I'm using the Hilti HY170. I'm doing a stud. It's an M12 and that's what I'm going in, 70mm, and it's going to tell me it's a 14mm hole. I'm using the Hilti HDE 522. Normal working condition, I'm using 10 anchors to start with. So I just select that one to 10 anchors. And it says mortar volume per anchor, there we go. Dosage settings, so that's what we're looking at, 10. That's going to give me exactly what I need, the right amount of millilitres. And then every time I squeeze, if say 10mm, that's what it will give me. Just keep holding the trigger and it'll give it the exact amount. I'll just push it all the way in and then pull it back up as I fill it and then push down the rod straight into that material. So it's really, really simple. So we just insert all the way down, pull the trigger, start pulling back up as we go. Drop in the stud, feel the adhesive there, give it a little wind in, get the air out. And that's it set. So that's it, all of my studs are in, and when I started I squirted out the mixture here, and it's also good to keep a little bit so you can check how quickly it's gone off. It generates a little bit of heat actually while it's going off, and that's it. So using a system like this, there's no fracture of bricks, it's really held down, it now becomes one with that big massive brickwork. And again, something like this is such good technology. If you're doing this a lot, I would say this is definitely something worth investing in. The fact that you don't waste any either by using the exact amount is brilliant. So anyway, the next job is getting all of the OSB on the outside of this building, and it'll be super rigid then, and then covering it in BatSafe. Catch you again soon.